You revise well, you're going to be
In the
successful.
first programme in this series about black teachers aspiring to headship, we saw that candidates need to be strategic and at the very top of their game to be successful.
It's all in the state of mind. And those people that are successful have a very, very positive state of mind.
In part 2, we'll see that on achieving a headship, there's a whole new set of pressures. And we show how personalised coaching could help prepare black heads in their quest for school leadership.
Good morning.
24.
You've got a big bag. You've got a gorgeous hat on this morning. Bye.
Marva Rollins has been a successful primary head for the past 12 years.
Okay.
She moved to Raynham Primary in Enfield 10 years ago, but her first headship was in a small junior school in Newham. She was the first black head in the authority and got off to a nerve-wracking start.
Headship is one of those jobs you have to learn on the job. Most people will tell you on the first day of being a head, we sit in the office and think, what do we do now? And that's the standing joke around new head teachers. The children have gone in, the staff have gone in, and you're sitting there thinking, wonder what we do now. Morning.
She felt weighed down by the intense scrutiny she immediately came under.
I think there was certainly a careful looking at what I would do as a head teacher. There must be a concept of what a black head would do differently to a white head. So I think the uncertainty laid in that area. We feel we're judged not just by our name, but by our cultural group as well. So if something goes wrong, as it does, hey, this is education. When something goes wrong, it is not just a case of, oh, well, that head teacher messed that up. It is really a case of the colour comes in front of the sentence as well. Okay. And that's a big burden to carry, not to be allowed to make a mistake.
She felt a heavy burden from her own community.
We feel it is more difficult as black head teachers than being a white head teacher because we encompass everything that black people want to achieve. So we have to be good for our black parents, we have to be good for our black children, we have to be good for our families, for our community. We really can't slip up because we carry the whole community on our backs, really. And Miss Reid has given you a certificate for trying your very best in all areas of the curriculum. Well done, Ali. That's the first half of our certificates. Can you give them a thank you, please?
Preparing black teachers for the pressures of headship is high on the agenda of London's Investing in Diversity programme, designed to support ambitious minority ethnic teachers.
And also where you used...
Former head teacher Rosemary Campbell-Stevens, who runs the course, understands the challenges facing new black heads.
There would always be some kind of protracted discussion, stalling, etc. People that you wanted to do things would often question why it was that you needed to do it. And I think that was about them as individuals feeling sufficiently confident within the culture of the institution that it was okay to question a black head teacher in a way that, quite frankly, they probably wouldn't a teacher from a different background.
Knowing how tough it is, Rosemary sets very high standards. It's a management simulation, and she's asking the teams to write a report preparing their school for some important visitors.
I just want to make a comment about the reports, and I use the term advisedly with regards to some groups. Why did some people think that that was okay with regards to the memo that asked you to write a report? Yes.
I think quite basically we were a poor performing group. We didn't get a lot of the basics right, and hence we made lots of mistakes.
I think that deserves a round of applause. Yeah? No, don't bother to defend anything, I think. It's not a reflection on you, but you have something that you want to say. Please.
No, I think that, to be fair, they were not a poor performing group. They got some things wrong, yeah? What they should not have done is handed that in, simple as that. They should have basically, rather than hand it in, they should have said, you know what, we didn't do it, and left it at that. That's where they made a mistake.
That deserves a round of applause. Yes, it was too strong. You weren't a poorly performing group, but there were elements of this that you could have done better. And never, ever defend the indefensible. It was clear what was required. There was a memo.
The course has a big
that
impact
said
on delegates.
an important
Some reassess their
international
ambitions,
visitor was
and it
visiting
gives
the
them a
country.
chance to reflect on their experiences in schools.
I think it's a very big responsibility, and I don't think I will have enough time for my family if I go for the headship, and that is the main reason why I won't go for it. I've got a young family, and I think I need to spend time for my young family, that is why.
My previous job was I was a head of science in an all-boys school, actually, and there were all sorts of issues, like I used to get letters addressed to Mr. Yaku, because they just assumed that the head of science in a boys' school would be a Mr. And once after school, I was walking around the school and I met a parent who was lost, and they asked me who I was. And I said I worked in the school, and they said, "Oh, are you the cleaner?" And I said, "No." I said, "I teach in the school." And they said, "Oh, are you the Urdu teacher?" And I said, "No, I'm actually the head of science." And they sort of looked at me and were quite surprised.
I certainly know that there is a lot of discussion amongst black professionals about the isolation that people feel once they get into headship positions. Then there's the level of scrutiny, because there are so few of us that people notice if it's a black head teacher that's taken over a school for the first time. If you haven't got a network of fellow colleagues that you can call upon, critical friends, people who can mentor and coach you through that, then it is more difficult.
I'm coming to get you. Let me see what you're up to. I'm just checking.
Marva is one such coach for aspiring black teachers. She uses her experience as a head to assist those who want to go on to lead schools.
Are you doing half of 76?
In our culture, we say each one teach one.
In my head.
My rule is, if I'm helping you on the premise that you pass it on. Okay, so what I'm hoping to do in my own little way is to spread the knowledge base around the community. There's no point having just one or two of us at the top. That serves no purpose at all.
I think what we need to do, if we decide our two priorities, and if we say it's parents and success criteria, it's more feeding it.
Marva also tries to help aspiring heads overcome the conservatism of selection panels.
When the skills have been sharpened and people are still struggling, then we do have to look at what else is going on there. In authorities that have good governor training, you're more likely to see senior managers from BME communities. And a lot of it is about the perception of people who are employing the teachers. Also, I think some teachers really look within their schools for promotion. I don't think they should do that. I think they need to look outside of their school. So we help them to do that, look outside the school. So some of them have a hard time moving up the ladder. But it goes back to that perception of what does a senior manager look like.
Now can you face this way, please?
Over the past year, Marva's been coaching Patricia Young, the acting head of a large primary in Brent. But a newly appointed head is soon to start, and Patricia's struggling to get her first headship.
There is a perception that you get so far, you know, how dare you go any further? Governors have their perception. I don't fit into that mold, One has to have, in education, if you want to get to be a black leader, you need to have rhinoceros skin, thick skin.
Patricia went for yet another interview, but on the way, she had a crisis of confidence.
6 o'clock in the morning, I called her and I said, Marva, I can't do another one. She said, Patricia, you are tired. She said, just get yourself together. You go there, you know your stuff, go and do it.
She failed to land the job, and she's made one of her regular visits across London. Marva believes she should rethink her approach.
That as long as you go for a big school, you're very likely to be up against a very experienced head or several experienced heads. So your chances of getting your first headship are narrowed. Not limited, not impossible, but they're narrowed. So I think you will have to rethink. What's your problem with one form entry?
How do you deploy staff? Having, say, 8 classes, 8 teachers, and then having to, say, one person be responsible for so many areas.
I know you're struggling with that one, aren't you?
I am. My heart is in just for
a bigger school.
Two form entry is not big.
No, not big these days. No, not big these days. These days we have 4 form entry ones, don't we? Which are really huge.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do? What do you need? What do you need me to do?
And the gentleman told me that I needed to. My area for development is that I answered questions too fully.
Okay, so you need to shut up, really, is what he meant politely.
Yeah, no, but I've got into this habit where I'm giving them the full picture. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I need to not be so graphic with them.
Maybe you need to look at when the eyes are glazing over, Patricia, and that gives you a clue about stopping. But we need then to focus or refocus on giving one good example.
Yes.
If that's the feedback you're getting.
That's what I got the last time. I value that because I think that was a fair interview. I think because he said you will get your headship and I may meet you around.
And we know that.
Yes.
The aim of coaches such as Marva and Rosemary is not just to increase the numbers of black head teachers, but to improve the quality and diversity of what they have to offer.
People follow leaders because you have a certain moral authority. Over and above all of the competencies that you need to have as a deputy or a head teacher, in a sense, what people are actually following in a good leader, is the person, what they bring in terms of their essence, how they approach leadership. We can always find people who can manage the budget and analyse the data, but in order to do what? So for me, what investing in diversity allows me to do is to explore what actually makes people want to follow other people as leaders.